What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Week 18 builder, taking on my good pal Jed and the Adelaide Overheat. He took over this team from Liam Ogumi and the Wraith Rabombies. Jed's team consists of Z Tapu Koko, Mamoswine, Bronzong, Z Cofagrigus, Skuntank, Ninetales, Sceptile, Mega Blastoise, Hawlucha, Latias, Kangaskhan, and Z Masquerain. Priority users, he's got the Mamoswine with Ice Shard, Skuntank with Sucker Punch, Mega Blastoise with Aqua Jet, Latias with Sucker Punch, and Kangaskhan with Fake Out and Sucker Punch. Hazard setting, he's got the Mamoswine with Rocks, Bronzong with Rocks, Cofagrigus with Toxic Spikes, and Masquerain with Sticky Webs. So it's kind of locked into a Bronzong or Mamoswine rocker for the most part. Hazard removal options, he's got the Tapu Koko with Defog, Skuntank with Defog, Mega Blastoise with Rapid Spin, Hawlucha with Defog, although it's never going to run it, Latias with Defog, and Masquerain with Defog. 4 times weaknesses is just the Masquerain to Rock, so hopefully Stealth Rocks is enough for that, because I'm not really bringing any random rock coverage on the team for the Masquerain in case that it's a switch into Excadrill or something. I'm not covering it. In terms of what I'm not expecting to see, it's normally really hard with a 12-mon team to sort of predict what I'm not going to see, but in this case, I really don't think that Skuntank is going to show up. It's not that it's bad necessarily, it's just I have triple ground, so that kind of shuts Skuntank down quite a lot, and my fairy isn't weak to poison, so that's another thing to keep in mind. Yeah, it's really difficult for Skuntank to pretty much do anything in this matchup, so I would probably think that it's not going to show up, just off the top of my head. Ninetales, I have a little bit of a hard time believing is going to show up, given he wouldn't want to power up my my Mega Charizard X necessarily, but it might come to win a Weather War against me, and so I'm actually really scared. I'm scared out of my mind about Ninetales coming. It is possibly the scariest Mon on Jed's team in this matchup for me. I have absolutely nothing prepped for it. I can't prep for it like basically at all without bringing Slowking, and it still gets Solar Beam, and I'm really worried about other Pokemon just like feasting on Slowking in this game. So yeah, Ninetales is going to be quite the issue if it does show up. Sceptile, I'm not sold on. It can't really break through Zapdos. It's the same thing with Hawlucha, but I think he might bring those as speed control options for my Sand. If you didn't know, I ended up dropping, or I traded away Diggersby for Hippowdon, and I dropped Keldeo for Excadrill, and I dropped Xatu for Passimian last week, and the last week was the last week of transactions, so I've got all of those on the squad now. And Kangaskhan, I don't think offers a whole lot for his team. He could bring it, I guess, but I just feel like there are better options. Something like Cofagrigus, I feel like has to come as a Mega Charizard X check, or Mega Blastoise as a Mega Charizard X check. I'm really scared of Mega Blastoise. It could be Scarf Latias. The Mamoswine has a really good offensive matchup here. Bronzong has a super solid option, potentially as a Trick Room setter even, and Tapu Koko is Tapu Koko, so I'm obviously expecting that. Despite having triple ground, it's got decent options to hit my ground types with Grass Knot, in particular against the Hippowdon. But granted, you know, Nidoking and Excadrill both resist Fairy as well, so maybe it's a little bit harder for Koko in this matchup, but it could just be an enabler. It could be a screen set and an enabler for the team. I have absolutely no clue. In terms of what I'm bringing, this is my dedicated lead. If I see the Masquerain, I am leading 100% of the time with my Nidoking to prevent Sticky Webs. My team is really slow. I'm bringing a really slow team, actually. Like, Zapdos is the fastest base speed on the team this week. Granted, my whole team is slow, I guess, in a sense. So I'm kind of just weak to a lot of his speed control, and that's the idea behind it. But I don't want to be weak to webs. So I'm running Taunt, Yachi Berry, Nidoking to lead off with. Yachi Berry is so that this can be a primary Koko answer, because I really don't want to have to make a Abomasnow my Koko answer. I'd rather have a Abomasnow be my Blastoise answer. That's the idea behind that set later on. But Yachi Berry will mean that I can take on the Koko. I can live a hit from the Memo and pick it off from a reasonable range to an extent. And potentially this is a decent way to deal with Latias that's not running Psychic coverage. Psychic coverage is kind of not great against me, so it might just be running Ice Beam instead. I'm not entirely sure. But the Yachi Berry it's mainly there for the Koko. It's mainly there for Koko. Earth Power hits a lot of stuff really well. Thunderbolt, if he gives me terrain, is going to be a nice way to break through Blastoise. That's the intent of that, is that it can break through Blastoise, Hawlucha, and Masquerain. It'll two-shot Masquerain regardless of me having Life Orb or not. The Masquerain's going to be sashed, so it's irrelevant. And then I've got Shadow Ball there to hit the Bronzong, which would otherwise be immune to Earth Power. And Shadow Ball's a nice way to hit the Bronzong and the Latias for super effective damage, rather than running Ice Beam for Lati and having nothing for Bronzong. Because I wanted to run Taunt and I needed to run Taunt. In all honesty, it might just be my dedicated lead overall, so that I can taunt the Bronzong from getting up rocks and the Masquerain from setting up webs. Rocks are quite the issue against this team, perhaps. I've got Zapdos, Gliscod, and a Bomb Snow, so I don't really appreciate rocks, and I'd really rather not deal with rocks, but that's the Nidoking set. I'm outspeeding something in particular. I'm outspeeding a Skuntank with this, so just in case the Skuntank does come, I'll be able to Earth Power it in the face. Max special attack, tiny bit of defense there for Ice Shard with my Yache Berry. Ferrothorns next. I'm running a Chople Berry set. This is designed as a pseudo Mega Blastoise answer, and the reason I'm running Chople Berry is because Mega Blastoise likes to run Aura Sphere. It's boosted by Mega Launcher, and so it runs Aura Sphere typically as coverage options to hit Steel types. Especially something like Ferrothorn, he would run Aura Sphere over HP Fire for. I don't really see a reason why he would run HP Fire. So I'm running Chople Berry for that, but it can also somewhat check the Hawlucha depending on the set as well. I've got Leaf Seed, Stealth Rock, Power Whip, Gyro Ball. Gyro Ball, his team is really fast, so I can Gyro Ball a lot of it. Power Whip is mainly there for the Mega Blastoise, also there for the Mamoswine in theory, and it's going to do the most damage to a couple of things. I think the Clefairy is one of them. The Kangaskhan might be another. And the Bronzong, I originally had knockoff. Excuse me. I originally had knockoff on the set, but I needed Power Whip to be able to dent the Mega Blastoise. I just didn't have the coverage options for it on my team, and so I needed to like guarantee myself that I could deal with that Blastoise. So I've got the Power Whip there. I've split the EVs a little bit randomly. I just wanted to have some spit off bulk, and this way Aura Sphere is not gonna do a whole lot of damage to me. I wanted some physical defense as well. To take like a high jump kick from Hawlucha, something along those lines, and maybe punish it a little bit with Iron Barbs plus Gyro Ball damage. Zapdos is my dedicated Hawlucha and Sceptile check. This checks both of them amazingly well. Oh, Ferrothorn's also my Lottie check, by the way. This checks both of them amazingly well. Neither of them can do basically anything to me, so I've essentially nullified his Unburden Mons right off the bat. Adamant +2 Hawlucha with Stone Edge does not one-shot Chardy Berry Zapdos, and I'm running the classic Ian Special Static Discharge for the Paralysis chance against a bunch of stuff. I've got Roost, Toxic, Defog, so Toxic is there to catch things like a Mamoswine with that. Defog, I really need to get rid of Hazards because I'm punished too heavily by it. And then Roost for my own longevity, of course. I'm running enough speed on this to outrun the Mamoswine, and then I've got enough special attack to one-shot max HP Hawlucha with a Discharge just to make sure that that thing doesn't get out of hand, and enough defense to make sure that I am still comfortably taking +2 Stone Edge from Hawlucha and +2 Rock Slide from Sceptile. It's really not an issue at that stage. Gliscod is a physically defensive wall this time. This is designed to check the Mamoswine. It's a pseudo check to Hawlucha with no flying coverage. I think he probably will still run acrobatics, although he can get away with running mono high jump kick against me, like high jump kick, Stone Edge. It's not necessary for him to have acrobatics, but I think that he might want to run it. Either way, I wanted spikes against this team. It's really helpful against the grounded mons. And so I wanted to punish the team a little bit with spikes. So I've got the spikes there. This was just a secondary spiker because I needed the roam on Ferrothorn for Leech Seed. Liquidation, Leech Life, and First Impression. Liquidation is going to body the Mamoswine that's going to stand in front of my Gliscod anyways, and this is my dedicated Mamoswine check. Leech Life for recovery against mons like the Latias, basically anything slower than me. I can't really take hits from Blastoise super well, so I don't know about that one, but I could definitely Leech Life on something like Bronzong and get a bunch of HP back. And then First Impression can pick off Lottie. It'll pick off Sceptile 100% of the time. That thing is so damn weak. Even with the defense boost, I'm pretty sure First Impression will do like a lot of damage to it. So at the very least, I could just cycle in and out in First Impression. And First Impression is a really good revenge killing tool against a lot of mons here, Mamoswine included. Of course, everything that resists bug, it's not super great against, but it's still a high base power move coming off of a high base attack stat. Next is Abomasnow. I'm bringing an Assault Vest Spadef Abomasnow with Soundproof. There's really no reason for me to be Soundproof basically at all, but technically I'm immune to Masquerade's Bug Buzz, which is kind of nifty. Besides that, I have absolutely no reason to be Soundproof on this Mon. The only reason is that I didn't want more Hail Chip against my Zapdos, so I figured Hail Chip was alright against Jed. Just in the sense that it did a lot of passive damage to him, and he doesn't have a ton of bonds with reliable recovery on them. It's mainly Roosters on the team, and no like Wish Pass except for Latios, so just interesting thing to keep in mind. I just didn't want the Hail Chip against my own team. But this is a nice pivot into Mega Blastoise. This is kind of my primary check to Mega Blastoise, which otherwise just kind of bodies me. I've got Giga Drain there for it, so I should be able to recover. I should be able to two-shot it and recover a lot back. Ice Shard is there as a revenge killing tool for the Latios, of course, as well as the Hawlucha and the Sceptile, so I've got both of them kind of checked pretty well. Shadow Ball is there to hit the Bronzong, and then I've got Ice Beam just for general damage. I could also throw in Earthquake, which isn't a horrible option to be able to deal with Ninetales or something like that. I'm fairly confident that I don't live a Ninetales hit in the sun, but I don't really need Ice Beam, and I wasn't sure what to put, so I'm actually just going to change that to Earthquake last second so that I have something for the Ninetales, as well as the Skuntank, which could also be a decent Abomasnow switch in. Last but not least, I've got Excadrill. Excadrill just chilling here by itself. The reason I've got Excadrill rather than the whole Sand Core, I didn't really need Hippo, by the way. Hippo is like alright as a Koko switch in. It's kind of okay as a Ninetales switch in. I just wasn't sure what to put it in place of. Potentially Abomasnow, but it kind of lost to Blastoise. And I was toying with the idea of a Spadef Mega Charizard X that also kind of just lost to Blastoise. And so I was in a position where I ended up losing to Blastoise a lot. And I needed Excadrill on the team. This Mon is so good against Jed. His only ways of dealing with Excadrill are the Hawlucha and the Masquerain. A Mold Brick or Scarf Excadrill kind of just tears through this team with Earthquake. Kofag can take Earthquakes as well, but everything else will get two-shot that isn't immune to it. And obviously I break through Latios' Levitate as well as Bronzong's Levitate, so both of those are fairly screwed. I've got Iron Head there for the Sceptile, the Hawlucha, and the Masquerain just in case they do show up as problem mons for the Excadrill, but if none of them show up, I can just sort of start claiming kills with Excadrill there. I've got Rapid Spin. He might want to spin block me with Cofagrigus, but just in case he does get his rocks or his webs, then I have another way of rapid spinning them away, but this is my only form of speed control this week, so it's kind of important for me to keep Excadrill around for the most of the game, if not all of it. And then I've got Facade there just in case I do happen to get burnt by the Cofagrigus, or a random Flamethrower burn or Scald burn or anything like that. Could be quite detrimental. I'm running enough speed on the Excadrill for Tapu Koko. So with a Choice Scarf, I can outspeed Tapu Koko. He does have some knockoff Pokemon. I'm not outspeeding like Scarf Memo. I'm not really anticipating a Scarf Memo to come, but it could, I guess. It could come. I just felt like the power output from Adamant. Oh my god, I've been talking too long. And my slight allergies are acting up, so I'm a little bit stuffy as well. But Adamant Excadrill just hit a power point that was too important this game to give up, so I would much rather be Adamant and have checks to mons that are faster. Things like the Mamoswine, things like the Skuntank, and anything else I'm not really super concerned about being Scarfed. I don't really think Scarfed Ninetales is the bring on his side. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. And again, I don't really think that Ninetales is necessarily going to come. I think he's going to over-prep for Mega Charizard X, and so the Ninetales won't show up. Or at least that's what I'm hoping, because otherwise I'm screwed. And Ninetales just, like, screws me. Like an HP Steel, Dark Pulse, Solar Beam, Fire Blast Ninetales or something like that. Maybe not even Dark Pulse, maybe just Mono Solar Beam. Solar Beam, Fire Blast, HP Steel with Nasty Plot. The only thing that walls that is Mega Charizard X. I don't know. That's the team. In terms of what I'm not bringing, Slowking, I would have loved to have brought for the Ninetales and the Blastoise. The Blastoise is most certainly going to have Dark Pulse for it. It really doesn't match up super well against anything that's not named Latios on the team, and I'm not super scared about Latios. Diancie is okay here. It's not super great. It's another decent Ninetales check, but it also loses to Blastoise, so I don't want to just keep stacking on mons that lose to Blastoise. Persian, another mon that loses to Blastoise, also loses to Coco, unfortunately, although it was a decent way of just pivoting around and maybe getting into my Zapdos for free or things of that nature, getting into Ferrothorn instead of Hazards. Zardex was on the team. I dropped it for the Golisopod, I believe, as a Mamoswine check, or it could have been a Bombsnow, I think, actually, as a Blastoise check. Hippo, I discussed this a little bit. Lose to Blastoise. I'm not about that life. Passimian could have been all right. The Kofagrigus is coming for Zardex next control anyways, so there was really no point in bringing another Mon that just lost to Kofag. And it can't really punish him when he's got a spinner. So there's not a ton of situations where I think he's going to click Defog over Rapid Spin with Blastoise, but he could, depending on if he was prepping for Passimian well or not. That's going to be for the team, and that's going to be for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys for the match.